Greetings to the ones and welcome to the 1-6 scale, man. Proudly presents, you know what it is. Comic book talk with friends Monday night. So glad to actually have you guys here with us. Got a couple things that we're going to discuss here today. It's Monday fun day as always, man. We have Sunday fun day. We have Monday fun day. I'm just going to anoint it that because sometimes I'm just like F Mondays. I hate it, but I'm like, you know what? It's not its fault. It's just Monday. It's coming off the weekend, so it's a day that has to suffer, and it just happened to be Monday, man. But welcome and thank you guys for being here with us this evening. Again, we got some things that we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about Hickman himself. Now we're going to use it now. Again, not an artist, but more so a writer. He has dabbled in some art, but he's more so a writer. So we're going to actually just kind of highlight some of the writers too, along with some of the artists. So we're going to do a couple of different things, mixing back and forth. And then speaking of Jonathan Hickman, we're going to actually dabble into the future and actually what he has coming up soon, which is the Ultimate Invasions. It is Marvel's way of reintroducing the Ultimates back into the universe. And again, some people might be wondering, well, why? Well, there's a good reason. And on top of that, with everything that's going on in the MCU, there's a damn good reason why they're doing it. With Miles being out there, who has been a staple of the Ultimate Universe, it's definitely good to actually have this back. I always loved the Ultimate titles. I was very upset at the simple fact that they destroyed the universe and only brought in certain characters. But hopefully we get it back again, and it looks to be good. They put out a trailer on it today, I think, and it was definitely good. So yes, I'm excited about it, and I can't wait to jump into it. Definitely can't do this by myself. We got Jason, who will be back in here. He's actually working on his internet right now. Vinny is away this weekend, so we'll probably see him next week later on. You know, he's taking a vacation. First time he's actually ever been on a plane. So shout out to V. I hope the flight was good, bro. I hope they didn't have to BA Baracus you when you got on that plane. But yes, and true indeed, I hope the flight was well. But you know who we got in the building. I mean, always butt ass naked from the waist down, cheeks always to leather, as always, every day, and then coming through with them Sour Patch Kids butt naked edition. You already know who it is, the one and only, yes, Brendan, Mr. Butt Naked, the collector without fear, is in the building, and naked as always with that big ass box. Sour Patch Kids, bro. I just.
So good.
Did you eat the whole box yet?
No. I make them last, dude. You got to make them last, man. And you get to pick your colors too, man. I got all just orange and blue raspberry in there,
bro. Does it make you piss sour? Does it make your butt tingle sometimes a little bit when you eat too many of them, bro?
The butt, definitely not. The piss being sour, I wouldn't know. I don't drink my own piss.
You smell it.
Well, it doesn't smell any different. We'll say that.
Bro, did you ever eat asparagus?
Yeah, I actually ate asparagus tonight with my steak.
And that horrible smell after you get done when you have to take a piss, you never.
It doesn't happen to me.
Wow, you're an anomaly.
I'm telling you. I just got great filters and amazing junk down there, man. It's just.
Okay, I knew he was gonna say some shit like that. Anyway, thank you.
You're the one who's asking me about like sour piss and stuff. All I'm saying is I never have an issue when I have asparagus. Maybe if you eat like a lot of asparagus, but like just a normal human portion amount, I don't see why it doesn't happen.
You got people who eat. Okay, people out there, everybody that's out there right now, if you eat asparagus, tell me you don't smell the asparagus in your piss.
Look, my wife had the asparagus today. Her piss didn't smell any different.
Man, you're just desensitized to it, bro. You probably had it so many damn times. Ah, man, it happens that way.
Asparagus is delicious, by the way. I love asparagus.
It is like it, bro. Look, asparagus is incredible. Buttered asparagus, bro. Or if you have asparagus with lemon pepper. If you season it the right way. Or
even just a little bit of Italian dressing and saute.
Yeah, a little bit of Italian dressing. It is.
That's what we did tonight with my big ass 30-ounce tomahawk steak, baby. So good.
And wait a minute, I can eat a stalk of asparagus and smell the difference. Yeah, bro, I'm telling you, it's always that way, man.
maybe it's not really the asparagus. Maybe you got some funk in your junk. Maybe there's something else going on.
Asparagus pea smell, definitely, bro.
I don't know what to say, people. I don't know. You guys all got some
Louis Labitz,
nasty
garlic
nether
with
regions.
asparagus for this fella,
There you go.
definitely. We got collected 1-6 collected balls in the building, one piece, and it stinks up the piss. I'm telling you, that's how it be, bro. That asparagus is stink ass, like straight up. You have it, and it's just like you can't avoid it, bro. It's just, it is what it is. What we got? Butt naked just built different. He must be.
Not
God,
wrong.
it must be, bro. It just built completely different. Jason would probably be cutting in here in just a little bit. He's trying to get his. I know he's listening right now. Jason, this is what I need you to do.
I keep telling him that Etch a Sketch does not have StreamYard on it, but he doesn't listen to me.
Reboot the computer, bro. Just reboot it. Just reboot it, and then turn it back on, and hopefully that works. And we
or
get
move
you
to
in
a state with better internet.
Man. Like I hope. Who you got? T-Mobile. I don't know.
I have T-Mobile. Yeah.
You do?
Yeah.
That's your internet provider?
Oh no, that's my like cell. No, I have so for internet in Boston we have Comcast, which as a company they suck ass. But my internet is still relatively stable.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think we got him in here now. Is he? Yeah, there you go. There you go. What happened, bro?
My computer was acting crazy, though. I had to go in and out.
Show me on a hot toy where they hurt you.
Right here in my chest. I'll be a huge hot toy for the night. Oh, I forgot to tell you, I got Scarlet Witch too. I love it.
You got it?
Oh, I got her right.
So,
yeah.
Here's the thing, bro.
The shoulders, bro. I'm keeping that cape on.
Bro, here's the thing, bro.
I wanted to keep the cape on anyway, so it wasn't an issue for me.
It definitely was an issue, but here's my thing, bro. Mm-hmm. Like, I'd rather, and this is just my opinion, I'd rather keep my Scarlet Witch exactly the way it is, bro. Because removing it. Because the thing is, here's the thing is I've seen now people don't get me wrong. Mm-hmm. Nothing against anybody who has done it, because I've seen some successful tries. Mm-hmm. But I've also seen some iffy tries where people have like torn the actual suit a little bit
to try and do a body swap.
Yeah, I'm not.
Oh yeah, they've done it. They've done
doing that, bro.
Yeah, I have no interest in. I've literally never done a body swap on a figure before.
Yeah.
I have like twice, and they came out good, but like that was just stroke of the luck, like just with a Captain America, and Man of Steel. I have two of them, so I swapped one of them.
I know a lot of people did that, or like remove the fat suit on like Mando and stuff too. I've never
touched Mando.
Yeah. I've never felt the need to. I haven't had like a figure where I'm like, I can't get this the way I want it, like in my display. So I've never bothered doing that, and it's like I just don't, because if I fuck it up, then I'm gonna need to buy another one because I can't just have. And I'm just I never felt the motivation to do that. And like I said, I mean. Hela is a great example. It doesn't ruin that figure at all. Yeah, you can see the shoulders there, but there's certain pose and you don't even, it obscures it. You don't even see it. And with this one, I love the cape. This is actually one of the only capes that Hot Toys has ever done that I'm like, this is a good cape. I like this.
Sculpted here, or would you want to have the other one? Because you can't put the hood on.
Sculpted all the way.
Yeah. Sculpted looking.
Sculpted all the way,
yeah.
Yeah,
I don't really want the hood, like a hood on, to be honest.
Yeah.
So I'm totally fine with. I like the cape, so I want it on, and that covers the shoulder joints. Not an issue to me, and I always opt for sculpted over rooted hair. Even with the in-art Joker that you just got in today, I went sculpted. I didn't want to figure rooted.
Is amazing.
Before we dip into talking about the main event, and I'm gonna address the chat here in just a minute. As a matter of fact, before I do this, let me adjust the chat real quick and see who we got in here with us. We got Calvin is in the building. Calvin, aka Low Key Collect, in the building. Thank you for being here.
Cal.
Charlie the Unicorn is in the building. You know, when you say Calvin's name, it's like pimp music. We got Philip the Fool. We got Dale A. Let's see who else. We got Toy Box in the building. Who else do we actually have here with us? We got Bendu Windu in the building. Thank you for being here as always. We got 1-6 Collective Balls is in the building. Let me see who else we have here. Louis Labitz, my guy. Two Ferns. The Ben Thomas Show is here with us, my bro. As always, we got Yomo in the building. Malika Mabane. Let's see here. Renz Talentino. So yes, we got quite a few people that are tussling here, man. Thank you for actually coming through. But right before we actually dip in, right? Because I wanted to kind of talk to you guys about this, man. We didn't. I mean, it's one thing to really, really talk about, because I talked about it earlier on this episode of The Corner, but I want to actually talk to you guys about it just to kind of engage and see what you think. Now, we know that this is one of the minifigures that a lot of people are anticipating and actually want. Jason, I know when I showed you this morning, I felt the Indian or the Native American tear pour down your eye and the butt cheeks pucker as soon as I showed you this piece, bro. Now, here's the thing.
Take my money.
Yes. So, introducing the next character to the stage. Now, you can clearly see at the very bottom of the base, it has the Superman logo, and it has the Batman logo around it. So, BVS. This is the BVS collection. All we see now is the boots. But that's all we need to actually see to know. Now, InArts is definitely jumping into this fray. I'm telling you, when you open that Joker, you will understand it. Did you get rooted or sculpted?
I got the sculpted, bro. I don't even need the rooted, dog.
Bro, I got the rooted, and I loved it. I love the rooted on both. It's just like having a sculpted is just more presence, a little bit more, but both of them are so dope.
Both of them flawless, dog.
Are super dope, bro. So definitely. And they've already, to me, proven how good they are.
Oh, yeah.
And 100%. With this, again, it's a no-brainer, bro. This is definitely a no-brainer to have.
Bro,
my only
magnets,
thing is
the magnets.
Yeah, and I want to see how they do it, bro. But my main thing is I want to see if it's going to actually be a 2-pack with him and just a civilian Clark version. So I'm just wondering if they would do something like that, or if it would just be this.
If they do, to be honest, I don't need a Clark. I like, it's similar to like, J&D and what they've been doing statue wise on, the 3rd scale with, they'll do like, Bale Batman and then Bruce Wayne, like as a statue 2-pack kind of. They'll do, Pattinson, same thing, Batman and Bruce Wayne. It's like, do you really need, because like the Bruce Wayne when it comes to a movie is just Christian Bale in a suit, in like a regular like real world suit, okay, not a bat suit. Robert Pattinson, it's just emo Pattinson, in a suit. Like Henry Cavill, cool dude, but like you put Clark Kent on and it like, I don't need that. I like it as a representation in my collection. I want Superman. Yeah. And if they if they do a 2-pack and you can get him individually, I'm okay with that. But I don't want it to be like we're only doing 2-packs.
No, and they do give you like a single version and the actual 2-pack. Here's my reasoning for getting Clark. I'm gonna tell you why.
If it was like him pulling the shirt and like
that's
the chest
my point.
That could be cool. Like that,
that's my point.
I could dig. But if it's just
they did
him,
that and you get
in the Justice League with that.
Imagine you basically, because if they give us a Clark with his shirt opening like that, bro,
and having the suit underneath, and then they give you hands that could like be gripping the shirt and gripping the shirt and open it, that would be cool, and I'd be on board for that. But if it's just a straight up and down him in like a button down shirt and glasses, I don't need that,
bro. If because the way I see it, if they did that and you have that, because the thing is, you can use that,
magnets,
have him opening up his shirt, and then you have it going from that version to him flying. That would be incredible.
What I am curious about is because they've gone with like these magnetic stands and stuff, and not done like the crotch grabbers and stuff like that. I'm wondering if InArt has some sort of innovation coming. Maybe, maybe not. But if they have something coming, a new type of flight pole,
a clear flight stand. Pole.
Yeah.
Because this would be the character to do that on. If they could engineer some sort of now maybe it's magnets sewn into the back of the suit under the cape, and magnets in the back of like a flight pole, so that now it would have to be strong enough for it to hold
him. Mm-hmm.
I have no idea if this is something they're even considering, if it's something they're working on, if it's feasible, but I'm not a big fan of the standard flight poles that we get for figures, Hot Toys or third parties in general,
Yeah.
And so I rarely do like flight or in air kind of poses anymore because they're just such a pain in the ass to work with. If InArt comes up with some sort of way that we could have him doing exactly what we see in this tease where he's like floating up above, that would be amazing. So
that'd be epic.
Like, if nothing else, if it's basically the same as what we got from Justice League, like, shades different in the suit, but like if it's basically the same quality as the Hot Toy from Justice League, but they figure out a more innovative way to do flight poses, that would be worth it for me alone.
Yeah. What would be good for me though is if they have the suit be able to do better poses, better flexibility without tearing up the suit. I have every Cavill Superman, bro, and like the Man of Steel suit, I think is the most flexible out of the bunch, and this black suit is pretty good. But the Man of Steel, the BVS and the Justice League versions,
Well, the Justice League version, the Justice League is the same suit as the black suit. It's the exact same suit. It's just the color is different.
Yeah.
And
so the two Justice League ones, the Snyder cut black suit, and then the Whedon cut red and blue suit. Those are the same. It's just the color.
But that black one, I feel like it's a little more lenient with like poses than the
It is the only problem that I actually have with the black suit, and the only problem I have with the suits in general is the metallic body that they use under it to give it that shine.
It
but
shows,
yet it limits. Yeah, it does, but it also limits articulation with the arm itself because there's only so much that you can actually do. I mean, you can get decent flight poses from it, but it's just the simple fact that it's I don't know. A flight pose, a flight pole on this one, it definitely has to be something like. I literally, if they can engineer something, like I said, a clear pole, but something that's not a waist grabber. You know what I mean? If it was a way to do it a certain way, because the flight pole does not look right. Like if you had that flight pole and you have him and you're trying to pull off an actual flying pose, it doesn't look right because his cape looks bunched up in the back because
you can only leave it for so long before it starts to mess with the suit too.
Exactly.
So, because gravity is just going to be pulling that. So
it's going to be
if they can come up with a better way to do it, I would love that. Charlie the Unicorn even said in the chat that but if they did a Christopher Reeve Superman, that would be a 5-alarm fire compared to this.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yes and no. I definitely would love to have a Christopher Reeve Superman. Don't get me wrong. And I think that Hot Toys kind of missed the boat on not doing that with their like WB 100th anniversary. That being said, Christopher Reeve's that's always going to be on the table anytime that drops, that's a big fucking deal. Right. But right now you have people such as our good friend Jason here who are all about Cavill, and bummed that he is no longer part of DC. And so now is a good time to strike while the iron is hot, while all of those people are like, God damn it, I want more Cavill and I'm not going to get him. But now, because the thing is, Hot Toys, I don't see any reason why Hot Toys would make another Henry Cavill Superman. They have no, for one, it's, they're going to have new movies coming out. There's going to be a new Superman, at some point. There's like all those that they're going to be. Hot Toys is always focused on what movie is out right now that's got big marketing dollars behind it that we can make and sell a bunch of.
Well, they keep going back to Batman. Look how they did Bale. He got that whole line got a whole relaunch. But the Nolan trilogy is a little bit different
For one, it's just considered that like timeless, like you can put stuff out from that at any time
I agree.
and people will get it, kind of like Christopher Reeves. But then also I think with that one, it's timeless. But it's also, I think there was a lot tied in with that licensing, and I think they basically have that for a really long,
for a while.
There's so much for them to do with that. And they did a lot of those figures early that weren't all that great. They had peeling issues with that first Catwoman, the ugly joints and stuff on that first Bane. The DX11 was considered, the top of the heap at that time, but that's old now. And InArt has already put out something that is better, which it should be. It's like 10 years later.
Yeah.
But so I think the timing was ripe for them to go back and revisit the Nolan trilogy. So that makes sense. But I think they missed the boat on Reeves. But again, I think InArt is smart because Hot Toys ain't going to be making another Cavill Superman anytime soon, if ever. So
people that missed it should get this one.
Right.
Definitely.
So have InArt be like, okay, well, they're not going to do another one of those, so we don't have to worry about them trying to make one better than what we're about to do.
Especially not the BVS version, because they missed. They're not going to. Now the thing is, it's like a lot of people are really hyper, because again, this is a draw and people are excited about it. But I'm finding that people are even more right now, even in this, they're like, yo, a lot of people that are excited about the BVS Batman as well. Like they want that suit. You know what I mean? And again, it's definitely a great suit. In my opinion, the BVS Batman is better than the Justice League version.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think that was
they're not gonna, and that's the thing. It's a perfect window for InArt to tackle those figures because Hot Toys has moved on from those.
Yeah.
Like
it's definitely
Hot Toys
for them to do it.
has moved on from the Snyderverse.
Yeah.
And that's just the way it is. They're going to be focusing on a brand new universe being created at Warner Brothers DC. So they're going to be focusing all of their attention on that stuff. And that's fine because hopefully all that stuff turns out good and we want more movies and we get great figures from it. But in the meantime, that just leaves the door wide open for them to go into BVS, into Man of Steel, and put out some quality figures from those movies that we just don't have.
Listen, I'm so happy that I got a chance to grab all those Batman and Superman from that. I never thought that a couple of years later the Snyderverse would be shut down or be over with. So it's like that Ben Affleck Batman from that movie was like Frank Miller's perfect version of him, like in live action, bro. Like, I mean, that suit is Frank Miller all day. Then the
and
armor
just
suit is
imagine
Frank Miller all
how
day.
it's going to look and how it would be with, basically, again, the restraint on the suit that we have or we got from them. It was like that fat suit at the bottom. Just imagine something that's going to be a bit more articulated, a bit more presence to it. And then on top of that, what I'm most interested to see is, again, InArt is delivering with their diorama stands and bases. You know what I mean?
Man.
So I'm interested to see how they're going to actually do, with that, because like literally, just
their bases put Hot Toys to shame because Hot Toys bases
with
look
the magnets
cheap
alone,
compared to
bro. With the not even just with the magnets,
just the look,
like
just the premium look of them. Man.
The
they
Harry
look
Potter
way better.
is incredible. Like that base is phenomenal. Like literally
a statue.
It's incredible. Like, you know what I mean? So what they offer with their diorama bases, and again, one of the biggest things is yes, it's exciting, but there's going to be a lot of, and the thing is like, look, I don't shield for any company. Whoever makes something that I want, I'm going to buy it. Yep. You know what I mean? Plain and simple. Whether it's Hot Toys,
the same way.
I
waited.
Toso Toys, it doesn't really matter. But here's the problem: because they released this, now watch the hate. Watch the hate.
It's going to be.
It's going to be a whole bunch of hate.
I don't even care.
Bro.
I'm a Superman fan. I don't even care.
Exactly. It doesn't really matter.
There's always
going to be that.
The bottom line is I took a chance on them, right? And I knew it could backfire because I knew maybe their Joker shits the bed. Maybe it's not good at all. But I wanted to roll the dice as a collector. I knew that, what the odds were. And they knocked that Heath Ledger Joker out of the park. And I was pleasantly surprised.
Is premium,
with
bro.
that, they earned my trust. And I said, okay, I'm not going to pre-order not that I'm really pre-ordering figures any time anymore, except if it's in art because they'll be more limited. But like, I was like, all right, I'm not going to do the Hot Toys Robert Pattinson Batman. I'm going to go with in art because they earned my trust based off of the Joker. And I was like, okay, wow, they really put effort into this.
Yeah,
they knocked this one out of the park. It's still, it's only like their second figure. So I'm still, there's still a little bit of like, maybe it doesn't come out as well, but there's a lot less of that than there was before the Joker released. So I'm like, okay, you earned my trust. So I pre-ordered through Pop Collectibles. I got I just went again, the single pack sculpted hair, because I don't give a shit about the rooted or sculpted hair for that matter on that, because I'm not going to be displaying them without the cowl. Like, why would I do that? So I got that figure coming from them. I'm really looking forward to that. And here's the thing. They're going to make so many of the Hot Toys one that if I'm disappointed with the in-art one, be like, okay, well, I'm out some money on that one, but I can still always get the Hot Toys one if that looks amazing and I'm disappointed with this one. I don't think that's going to happen, but I have that option. And like we had said, Leo, when we were talking the other day, like, I don't even like Lord of the Rings, but that Aragorn figure looks phenomenal.
Flawless, bro.
Definitely flawless. Definitely worth it, bro. And that's what I'm saying. And that was one of the reasons why I wanted to bring this up. Hey, it's superhero Jason's. It's basically something that we are related to, and that's why I wanted to kind of bring it up, because again, I was excited when I saw it. One that I did not expect them to release so soon, but normally if they're doing this and the hype is surrounded around it, that means that between
they're going to bring it
now and
they went from Harry Potter to Superman.
So I think basically probably between now and next week or something like that, we might start seeing more photos. I don't know when they might release it later this week. I'm not sure, or next week or something like that, or not release it, but reveal it. Who knows when it's going to go up for pre-order, but I'm excited, bro. I'm definitely excited.
Cape. Look at the cape. You could tell the quality is already 100 steps
above.
And
there are a lot of questions there too. It's like, will it, be? I mean, I bet you the cape quality is going to be better than what we typically get from Hot Toys. Is it? But are there going to be two? Is there going to be a draped cape and a wired cape for flight poses? Who knows? But yeah, I'm looking. I'm looking forward to seeing what they can do.
Yeah, definitely. So it's going to be exciting. Anyway, everybody out there, let me know what you actually think. General Shill, you already know. Let me know what you basically think. If you're going to get your hands on this once it drops, if you were impressed so far, just off the simple fact that we see a pair of boots and a cape, just let me know what you actually think. And we'll discuss it later on. Or you can go back and watch the episode of The Corner. I had a long conversation about it today. So definitely, man, thank you for giving us some time to actually shoot this out here. But next up, we're going to actually just get into the artist discussion or the writer discussion this week. And it makes perfectly sense that we actually do it because, again, I like diving into this because I view this person as a genius, but also a very controversial writer. Because of his approach, because of how he writes, but his choice, he takes a lot of risks and he does not care if it completely, like the torment and torture that he puts a character through, he does not care at all. Sometimes the writing itself, it can be the writing itself. I mean, if you're somebody who've actually collected and read, like, again, we're talking about House of X, Powers of X. If we're talking about Dark Reign, if we're talking about certain things, his writing is very particular. Like he has a particular writing style where I always equate him to like the Marvel writing version of Quentin Tarantino. There's a lot of jargon. There's a lot going on in the conversations that you don't want to miss because it's important, but it's whether or not you've actually read other pieces to really understand. But at the same time, he's a brilliant writer. And seeing that he is actually bouncing into what is when newly the Ultimates invasion that's coming soon. It was just fitting, that definitely we discussed the one and only Jonathan Hickman. Again, a lot of you out there, if you know, he's heavy into like the X-Men lore. He's a prolific writer. He's done a lot in so many different other spaces as well. Jason, he's even dealt with Superman, to be quite honest.
I know.
You know what I mean? So again, like I said, he is one of those individuals who, again, when his writing style is definitely is particular, but again, he pulls no punches. Like that's just who he is, and you just might as well definitely accept it. I know a few times, Brendan, we've talked about it. And you were very like, really opinion, not you were open about your opinions on House of X, Power of X, and certain things that were like it was good, but things that you were like the writing choice sometimes kind of had you scratching your head. Talk about that a little bit, bro.
So for me, it's funny because there's some stuff that Hickman has done that I love, and there's stuff that Hickman has done that I hate.
Yeah.
And a lot of people give, when people talk about Jonathan Hickman in the last several years, it's mostly been related to the X-Men.
Yeah.
And I hated a lot of what was done in the X-Men. Well, I don't want to say hated in that, like, there were a lot of things that were done that I was like, ooh, this is a cool idea. And then we get into it, and then I feel like it hasn't delivered. And so I'm nowhere near as high on Jonathan Hickman's X-Men run as a lot of other people are. I feel like a lot of times the plots got really convoluted and unnecessarily complicated, and involved too many characters. And as has continued to the post Hickman kind of era right now, I feel like in a lot of ways, characters have kind of completely changed from what they really were before, without a natural evolution, a natural progression for them to become those types of people. And they just start doing things that are incongruous with who they've always been for decades in the comics. And then other characters are just not used enough, and they're kind of pushed to the side for then these newer characters that are coming in that aren't really that memorable. But it's like we're going through like a big event, and it's supposed to be like a big X-Men event, and it's like, somebody like Cyclops is like barely around, or even Wolverine is like limited to basically the Wolverine solo title that he has, and what he's doing is just kind of on the outskirts of the main story or something, but he's not really in there. Like Storm, I just don't think is used very well, or wasn't used very well. I think Storm and Magneto are two characters that I think have been actually used particularly well of late. But again, that's after Hickman, but kind of following the roadmap that he had laid out before he left. But I think best, a lot of people love his work on Fantastic Four. That's one of his big things that people really loved. I've always been kind of hot and cold with Fantastic Four, so I fall in and out of that book. I don't usually stay with it for years on end, just because they just haven't been as big of a book for me personally. But I think he did an excellent job on the Avengers. I have his two Omnis for his Jonathan Hickman's run on the Avengers, and I think those are great. I think he did a masterful job with those. And this ties into kind of the Ultimate Universe. because he was also kind of instrumental in destroying the Ultimate Universe with Secret Wars, the 2015 Secret Wars.
Very controversial for me, man, because I was like, why?
And like,
yeah,
I enjoyed the Ultimate Universe. Not everything about it, and we'll get into that, as we move the conversation to the, bringing back the Ultimate Universe. But I enjoyed the Ultimate Universe, and it's kind of funny that they're bringing back the guy who destroyed it to bring it back. And, which, it's funny, but I think my take on Jonathan Hickman, by and large, I think he gets some really amazing ideas that get me really excited. And then maybe half the time I feel like the payoff is actually what I was hoping for. And then the other half, I'm just like, I feel like you were trying to be a little too hoity-toity, a little too, like, look at how great of a storyteller I am, and tried to go something that was a little too complex. And I'm okay with complexity if you can bring it all together in a way that feels earned and feels like it makes sense. And I feel like half the time Hickman does that and half the time he misses. For me, and my personal preference, in storytelling. For example, I really liked the concept for it's actually 10 of Swords, but like everybody called it X of Swords. But like Marvel even said, no, it's actually 10 of Swords. So there were 10, but I really liked the concept for X of Swords and was massively disappointed with how that ended up turning out. There's so many things. And again, that's happened post Jonathan Hickman too. And still a lot of it was kind of the roadmap that he laid out into like Inferno and stuff like that. So I don't know how much of his stuff is still even remaining, but like even today, like, or the most recent, Trial of Magneto, I was excited for that one, and I was completely let down by that one. So yeah, I've just been kind of, it's been hit or miss for me with Jonathan Hickman. I think he's brilliant in terms of the ideas that he comes up with. The execution is where it can be kind of lacking. But we've seen that in so many, mediums, and so many, whether TV or somebody like, George Lucas has a great idea, but then maybe isn't the best person to direct that. Right. I love what George Lucas comes up with idea wise, but the man does not write dialogue very well. You go back and you listen to some of the dialogue, especially in the prequels. It's pretty bad, and it's almost like, okay, maybe you come up with the larger idea, then have somebody else like write the script and you kind of guide them, and then somebody else direct it, you produce, kind of stuff like that. I think that would have been where he was, that was his wheelhouse. So Hickman, I think maybe is like the big idea person, but then maybe have a team underneath you that kind of like craft the story from that. Maybe that would be better.
Yeah, with me, when it comes to Hickman, bro, and the thing is, I think he's a brilliant writer. I just think that, again, you've completely changed the scope of what we know about some of our favorite characters, some of our favorite, especially when it comes to the X-Men, bro. Like, it's like you've given them a new origin story, or you've changed a concept that, a thing that, we've, you've completely taken characters that we know and love and given them now villainous tendencies. And it's
the
like
Krakoan era, the idea of Krakoa was cool, but I feel like it's dragged on way too long, and it's gone from mutants wanting to create their own, safe society, have their own nation state, which like it makes sense. Like I can understand how the story could go there, but then all of a sudden so many of these characters turn into, I mean, in a way, Professor X seems more like a cult leader than than the leader of a nation or leader of mutant kind or anything like that. Like, and so many of these characters just become unlikable. And then even when they're defending, like, even if they're not necessarily completely altered as a character, you still like this character, but then they're also defending, Krakoa when Krakoa is doing some shady shit, and you're like, I really wish Storm wasn't defending them. I really wish Wolverine wasn't defending. Because here's the thing. Totally fine. Like, you want to create your own nation state. Like, that's totally fine. But Krakoa right now, again, and this fed out of Hickman's era into what we're in right now, they have these gates so they can instantly travel anywhere on the planet. It's like, okay, you can have your own nation, but like, you just get to then, without going through customs, without having to go through
travel anywhere you want.
You can just walk right into any country. So if you're not on good terms,
but no one's allowed
you
in.
can still just
I like that story,
you know what I mean? It's
I don't like that story.
You can't, like, if you want to be your own nation state, but that's fine. But if you want to come into this country, you've got to get, like, a visa to come through it for however long you want. Or you've got to, get a passport and get it stamped and shit like that. Like, you can't just be like, we got a gate. Boom, here we are. Like, because that's a threat to any other country's security. If you can just waltz right in whenever you want, right?
Whenever you want.
So that's the thing where you like. And when you have these characters that you love that are getting, full-throated defense of Krakoa, but it's like, wait, but you got, as a nation, Krakoa, I like the idea, but in actuality, you're doing some shady shit.
Yeah.
Right? That you guys shouldn't be allowed. And you got people like Mr. Sinister and Apocalypse on the Quiet Council that runs everything. It's like, and also I never felt like the progression of characters like Apocalypse and Sinister made all that much sense under in the Hickman era and coming out of it. I like the kind of snarky, like, sassy, like, Sinister. Like, I like aspects of it. I think sometimes they lean a little bit too much into it, but I like that. But like other characters, like, I feel like since, like, Hickman's started things, one of the most egregious things is the progression of Beast.
Yeah.
Oh God.
It's just
it's not even, you know what? It's the progression of Beast, but then it's also the simple fact that you're okay. For instance, you're benching some of our favorite characters. Like right now,
absolutely,
Rogue has zero play in this universe right now. Like that's literally zero play in this universe right now, and it's for reasons that I don't effing understand. You have someone like, for instance, I was just reading, you have an era where now Darwin is back, but of course Darwin is ascended into this sort of like godlyhood. You have someone like X-23, Laura Kinney, who was at one point was captured. She's now in a relationship with Sync, the character. So
but now there are two of her though.
Exactly.
And then I hated this thing, and so now there's an older version of her. That's
the younger version, exactly.
And then the younger. It's like you're doing too much, like
way too much. And the thing is, it's like you've afforded these characters. Now, what you're doing is you're taking characters. You're giving them the ability to reincarnate at any given time. You put in like a little fail-safe that basically, like, depending on where they are when they come back, they might not remember certain things and it might not come back.
I don't like that, man.
But that was basically only in Otherworld. That was only in like that magical realm where they would be able to bring him back the same way
or something.
But now it's like you're again. I look. This is no knock against Bendis, because when he's on, he's on. I just think that sometimes it's sort of like,
well, Bendis
when you're given, I mean, not Bendis, Hickman.
Yeah.
I meant, because I always get them confused. Hickman.
No, I'm good.
So basically, I like Hickman, but it's just the simple fact that sometimes I think when he's given the keys to the kingdom and they tell him to do whatever because they believe that he can, and they're going off of the simple fact that he has a certain level of popularity based on an IP. Like, for instance, when people talk about Fantastic Four, okay, yeah, that's well and fine. He's done a great job. But the thing is, he's turned Reed Richards into an asshole, bro. Like, literally,
Yeah.
he has turned Reed into an asshole, like to the point where even his own wife questions him. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like, questions his whole motive, and whether or not he wants to even, because he's more dependent on what's going on with his research. Like, they've literally made him more of an asshole than anything. And it's like, all right, I understand that and I was watching this documentary, or not even a doc, it was an interview on him. Was it him and Claremont? No, it was him and someone else. And he had said that, everybody was talking about like, well, you put the characters through so much, you break them down.
Yeah.
And he said something where he was like, well, you have to break them down so they can find their way back. I'm like, but bro, none of the characters are finding their way back. It is a tragedy after tragedy after tragedy. What we have of X-Men right now, Charles Xavier, I don't like this version of him. I hate it. I hate this version of him, bro, because it's not the one that I want literally. There needs to be a complete reset, bro.
Yep.
There needs to be a reset. I didn't like that you basically brought Apocalypse on board. Now when you did that, you sort of like depowered him, because now he's just like,
and he's been gone for a while, but next month he's back. Like,
he's back.
The Apocalypse is coming back somehow.
And this is what I'm saying. Like this door, because this whole Krakoa era has been open. It's just like the X-Men run, because now there's a ton of runs and sometimes you can't catch up. It takes you a long time. So again, I understand that. Now with the Ultimates, we already know that, in a sense, it was his baby. It was sort of like something that he loved, but at the same time destroyed. So I'm just wondering how they're going to bring it back and what are we going to see with this? Like, how is it going to be? But again, it's not to talk about the simple fact. Hickman's a brilliant writer. He is. He's a brilliant writer, but sometimes you get ahead of yourself when you think that the audience is going to understand everything you're doing.
I think the biggest thing is that sometimes he's got an idea that he really loves that could actually be a really great idea, but then forces characters to fit the story that he wants to tell.
Yeah, I don't like that.
When those characters don't really fit. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he wants Professor X to be a certain way because that's how that's what he needs for the story he wants to tell. But Professor X isn't that character.
Right.
And he'll kind of make a character become something that they haven't been for decades in order to fit the story that he wants to tell, because he needs them to do whatever it is he needs them to do. And sometimes it works, but I think there are times when it doesn't. And I think, and then you have writers that are now doing X-Men and now, granted, I think Jerry Duggan has taken over the main X-Men book, and I think so far is doing a pretty good job navigating the labyrinth that is the Krakoan era, because they're dealing with what Hickman has laid out before them. And now he's,
and here's the thing. Yuli the Kid, you say that Miller, made Reed into an asshole, but a thing, look, and you say that Hickman walked it back, bro. Maybe read a little bit more into that, man, because he hasn't really walked it back enough. Like,
he's still the same, bro.
He's still the same. Bro. Like, if you read it, like, he is still the same. So it hasn't been walked back
at all.
Yeah,
Miller and Brian Hitch did the Ultimates. They're the ones that did that original one.
Did that
and I like that. That was also very controversial because it was a different take on Cap and Iron Man and these other characters that
especially the Ant-Man story with him and
so those were controversial, but I liked them because here's the thing about the thing about the Ultimate Universe that was good, all right, is that you didn't want them to be exact versions of the 616. You wanted something that was a little bit different. The idea behind it was for people who don't know where to start with Spider-Man or with Cap or Iron Man, when they were trying to get more readers in, and this was leading into the first initial movies that Marvel was making on their own. It's like, hey, we want to get people on board with these books, but if they think there are 400 issues of Spider-Man, they're not going to know where to start. We're going to start with these new Ultimate books, and we want them to understand the Avengers movie that we're going to be making. We're going to do the Ultimates, which is basically like the foundation for what they ended up using for that first Avengers movie, right? So I get what they were trying to do there, and I liked it. Yeah, there were parts where people were like, "Oh, I hate what they're doing with Ultimate X-Men," and it's like, that's totally fine. The regular 616 X-Men still exist. This is supposed to be a different take on them, so we want them to be different. We don't want them to be carbon copies of the 616. Here's something almost like a what if, basically, right? If you like what if, let's see a different version. Perfect example is Bendis made Matt Murdock in the Ultimate Universe kind of a dick. Okay. But that's okay, because I didn't want him to be exactly what he was in the 616. You want something different so you can see a new take on these characters. And so that was good. And there were a lot of people who Ultimate Spider-Man was the biggest success. People loved Ultimate Spider-Man. Okay. And you got to see Peter Parker back when he's 15, 16 years old. All right. Yeah. Ultimate Spider-Man, like Miles Morales, came from the Ultimate Universe. Okay. And he's arguably one of the biggest comic book characters right now in all of comics, let alone just Marvel. All right.
Ultimate Nick Fury, another one.
And you have a whole generation of people who are coming up and saying, Miles Morales is their Spider-Man. Okay. That's not a knock on Peter Parker. I love Peter Parker. Okay. But the fact that, he is an Ultimate Universe creation from Brian Michael Bendis. That,
and basically and also, like you said, Nick Fury, how they brought him, pretty much into the universe.
Exactly. And that's why we got Samuel L. Jackson at the end of Iron Man.
Yeah, bro.
Right.
And that's how we got. Because the thing is, you got to understand that the Cap, and what a lot of people don't realize, is the Cap that we actually have in the Marvel universe is the Ultimates version. People don't really see it that way, but it is.
It's slightly because, like, in the Ultimates, Cap was a little bit more gruff and a little bit more like militaristic, right? Yeah. And in the MCU, he's a little bit more questioning of like in the Avengers, he was more questioning of Nick Fury and Shield and and the Winter Soldier and stuff like that. So he's not a 1-for-1 translation from the Ultimates into the MCU,
but it
was the base, it was the foundation
of it.
And that's where, if you like the MCU, a lot of that came out of the Ultimate Universe because they wanted to make it more accessible to new readers as those movies were coming out. They didn't know how big the MCU was going to be. So at that time, they really wanted to try and funnel people from the movies into the books. I feel like they don't do enough of that anymore, trying to really drive, whereas I think that's a big focus for James Gunn right now, is everything that you hear about a new DC project or whatever, they're constantly putting out, here are the trade paperbacks, go grab these are the books that we're basing a lot of this stuff on. So I think DC is doing a great job with that. Marvel needs to do more of it, but there's so much that came when you think about this revival of the Ultimate Universe. It's centering on two characters that survived the 2015 Secret War, which, by the way, I think it's probably going to be a kind of a combination of the two. But I think the Secret Wars movie that we're going to get, the Avengers movie, is going to lean more toward the 2015 Secret Wars than the original one in the 80s.
Oh,
okay.
So,
which makes perfect sense that they're trying to bring back the Ultimate Universe in the comics and bring Hickman and Brian Hitch in to do that right now, given the fact that we're building two Secret Wars, and it's probably going to be the Secret Wars that actually destroyed the Ultimate Universe in the comics, but in the movies, they're probably going to flip that, and it's probably going to be a way to bring in new characters into this universe, right? So maybe Miles, or who knows, but Miles is also one of the biggest characters in comics right now, and he's the single biggest success story coming out of the Ultimate Universe, the original, right? Yep. And then, so the two characters that this is based on, Miles and the maker, it was the
maker is the
Fantastic Four, Reed Richards, the Ultimate Universe, the one who becomes a villain, and so you've got. Here's the thing: you have one of the things that people hated the most about the Ultimate Universe, and then the single biggest thing that people loved about the Ultimate Universe being the focal points for this new revival, which I think is very interesting. And again, tying in with the Secret Wars and the MCU. So that's really cool. And the other part to remember is that at least they haven't announced any long-term plans right now. But I don't think right now Hickman and Hitch are only doing the 4-issue Ultimate Invasion miniseries. They haven't said that, Hickman's spearheading the whole,
no.
Ultimate Universe moving forward. We don't know what's going to come after these 4 issues.
I think they're just basically they're using Hickman right now to kind of just launch and reintroduce the Ultimates. And I know that one of the biggest conversations that, even when they were talking about it, was they knew that Miles being the hot commodity right now, but also know that there are plans eventually to get him into live action. But they wanted to build a world that was necessary to bring him in a certain way. Ultimates is like, again, when we're talking about Secret Wars, when we're even honestly, when we're even talking about Secret Invasions, there's a lot that's actually at play here with this particular book and this title run and how they're bringing everything back in. So it's not like, I don't want people to think that this is a reset of the Ultimate Universe. No, it's not a reset, because he already said there are characters that are going to be the same, but there's going to be characters that are going to be completely different, not the way you've seen them before. And there's going to be new characters. So a lot of characters, and remember, a lot of characters that did die in the Ultimate Universe are still dead. They're dying. They died.
And then some might come back. But the other thing is, we don't know what's going to come out of this 4-issue series. We don't know if at the end of it we're going to have a new Ultimate Universe with stories in that, or we're going to have Ultimate Universe characters that are then staying in the 616. Like, we have no idea yet how this is going to work, which is both scary as shit and also exciting too. It's like scary because you don't want them to fuck it up. It's exciting because they're doing something big, something that it's like, oh man, this could be a game changer. This could have so many great stories to come out of it. So it's that, you don't know if it's going to be good, but you hope it's going to be good, and you think it could be. And that to me is really exciting. And I think
here's the beauty about this, again, is because they're doing this, again, like, you're getting the characters and potentials to see characters. Like, for instance, I love one of my favorite characters in the Ultimates was the Ultimate Thor. Fucking dope.
Yes. Ultimate Thor was awesome.
His story is fire,
fucking dope, bro. Fucking dope. Where the fuck do you think?
Beast.
And a lot of people don't understand. Is like, what do you really got? What do you think you got the amalgamation of Stormbreaker? Like, what do you think you basically got that from? You know what I mean? So that version of Thor was incredible. King Hyperion was fucking incredible. So the thing is, there's potential to bring characters in a certain way. And like, they're usually smart about the strategy right now. It's like, if you notice with the state of the MCU right now, which again, we know how it is, it's forcing writers. It is, but it's forcing a lot of writers, like a lot of writers now, to really go back, and especially with Marvel Comics, they're forcing them to go back, write certain things that they can kind of spearhead and get ideas from, and that's really where the focus is right now, is on like these titles. And don't think that they're doing it for no reason. Like, there's a reason behind it. We just got to kind of wait and see how it plays out. But Jason, I'm going to ask you a question, bro. Like,
go ahead.
Your take in real quick, and then we're going to move on to the next topic in the second, and Aaron, it's a little bit, but your take on Hickman, bro. And then also, like I said, there's rumor and his potential that he, even after a couple of runs, is going to even bounce back into DC. What's your thoughts?
Oh God, stay away from Superman, man. I don't like. I like a lot of his stuff, man. But it's just some things like Brendan was saying. It's like you'll break down a character and leave him broken. You know what I'm saying? Like, when are you gonna have that like time for them to return? Like, he'll break a character down to the lowest atom and then leave him there. Yeah. Oh, boom. Right. So it's like, bro, like I don't like that kind
Thor,
of
man.
writing, especially
Thor.
with Superman. That Thor is awesome.
That Thor, bro. Let me see.
That Thor is awesome, bro. I
This
like the
Thor was
ultimate version of Iron Man too. Not even gonna lie, bro. Look at that Stormbreaker.
Yeah.
Oh my God, dude.
It's
That's
so
the
good,
omnibus.
dude. Yeah, this is the Ultimates Omni. And that's the thing too. You can get so much of this right now. These Omnis are like, so this is the Ultimates. But then I mean, so this thing is great. Like, if you want to just
60?
get this book, I get my stuff. You can either cheapgraphicnovels.com, or I actually go to organicpricebooks.com. And you can get like Omnis that are like $100, they sell for like $60-$70, and Omnis that are 125, they sell for like 80, right? Like, you get like a lot cheaper. But you think about these, but then look, dude, there's so much that came out of the Ultimate Universe. All right, there are like 3 or 4 volumes of Ultimate Spider-Man with Peter Parker. These things are phenomenal. Really good stories. Different takes on characters. Some were like not as well received. Maybe like, with Carnage and Venom were very different in the Ultimate Universe. But it was like, okay, that's cool. It's like a different take on it. You still have the originals. But then, dude, Miles, like, this is the single greatest success story coming out of the Ultimate Universe. And like, Miles and these books, like, Brian Michael Bendis did such a good job with these, man. And all of these, like, that's the thing. I love reading Omnis and going through the Ultimate Universe and just reading, all the Omnis of Ultimate Spider-Man with Peter, Ultimate Spider-Man with Miles, the Ultimates. They've got Ultimate X-Men, which was controversial. Some people loved it. Some people really hated that. But like, they're probably going to be doing, I think, an Ultimate Fantastic Four at some point. But you can get all of those in trade paperbacks too. They have tons of those for the Ultimate Universe. And I'm telling you, if you just read them with the understanding that they are not exactly the 616, and they're not meant to be, but they're still really cool, interpretations of those characters. There are some really, really good stories, some amazing artwork. The artwork in the Ultimate Universe was very underrated. And I'm just looking forward to what they could. Now, here's the thing. I'll be bummed if they fuck it up, if they don't do a good job. But if they don't, I still have my 616. It's like, I'd rather them take the chance. I'd rather them get creative and take the chance. And I think there's a larger roadmap, and it definitely, factors into what they're trying to do in the MCU. Because here's the thing. Marvel went to Hickman and Hitch with the idea for what they wanted to do to revive for this Ultimate Invasion. They figured that Hickman was the right person for a reason. We'll see what that is. But Marvel has it wasn't like Hickman was like, hey, I want to do a 4-issue on Ultimate Invasion. I don't really know where it's going to go after that, but I have this idea. Marvel has an idea of what they want to do in the larger landscape. So, and they brought that to Hickman.
Let me ask you a question. And here's the part that I think about all the time. Like, now that I've been thinking about this, and even when they made this announcement,
I agree, Yuli, by the way.
Yeah,
me too.
Yeah, me too. Yuli, you were spot on with that, bro. And also, you were spot on with this. Hickman was tapped to do New Gods and Legion of superheroes, but then Marvel called him for, definitely he was. So here's the thing. Do you think, and now that I think about it, and knowing that this run was coming, and the thing is, there were conversations about this maybe a year and a half ago about the Ultimates. It's just that they didn't, because he talked about it today. Do you think that House of X and Powers of X was his test market, bro? In his own mind of what he can do? Like, if you think about it, bro, Do you think that it might have been like slightly a test market of what he could and how he can take his interpretation of certain characters to kind of prep? And it's not saying it's that way, but it's
I
like
hope not, because I don't like House of X.
Exactly.
House of X.
Because the way the House of M,
the way they're basically written,
on the edge.
and the simple fact that when you look at Beast right now, I don't think that this is the Beast that we know. I think this is Dark Beast because he's still out there, bro.
A lot of people are speculating that this is actually Dark Beast.
Yeah, that's what I think.
Here's the thing. It's entirely possible. I think that if they did that, then at least if they did that, then it would at least kind of hopefully give us back the Beast that we know and love.
Say, where's our Beast?
My question, my concern, I don't know if it was, even if it ends up being Dark Beast and we get our real Hank McCoy back, I don't know if I will ever believe that was actually the intent.
Mm-hmm.
Or it was shit. People hate what we did with this character, and we're gonna kind of retcon it, even though that was never our intent, and we're gonna make this Dark Beast. You know what I mean? At some point, something has to be done to redeem that character, because you can't just, all right, well, he's a piece of shit now. That's an original X-Men. Like you can't ruin that character. So they've got to do something. I feel like the Dark Beast is kind of a cheap out that I feel like, well, if there's a good chance that does happen. If it does happen, I still feel like that might not have been the actual original idea, but a response to the backlash and how much hate people have for what they did with Beast. So I don't know if that was like a grand plan and it's like, oh, this is an amazing, because here's the thing, even if it was the grand design, they didn't do it well because they dragged it out too long. At some point, it should have been, at some point, if he is Dark Beast, at some point long ago, they should have revealed to the readers that he is Dark Beast. And we're seeing that he is in fact Dark Beast, but the rest of the Krakoan society and the rest of the X-Men don't know yet. It's something that the readers are privy to, but like when we know there's a double agent, there's a spy or something like that. That's actually, I won't spoil it for anybody who is not up to date on the X-Men books right now, but at least one of the cool things is a really cool character that I've always liked that I feel is very underutilized, that is involved in a story arc right now, and there is like an unwitting or unwilling double agent in Krakoa, and so that is something that like the rest of the the Quiet Council and the mutants on Krakoa don't know about this particular character, but we do as the readers. That's what they should have done with Beast if he is in fact Dark Beast, because this has been going on for years. This isn't like, all right, the last 8, 9, 10 issues, it's been like something's a little wonky with Beast. What the hell's going on? He's been a fucking D-bag for 5 years.
For a while. For a while.
Yeah, it's just been getting worse and worse and worse. So to me, at that point, that's why I don't believe that it was the original intent for it to be Dark Beast. I think if that happens, it's going to be a retcon that they're just not going to let everybody know is a retcon. But I don't know. I mean, there are so many questions about this revival of the Ultimate Universe and how long-term or short-term it's going to be, what characters are going to be involved, what kind of impact it's going to have, if any, on the larger 616 landscape. What kind of story did they feel was specifically suited to Jonathan Hickman coming in and doing? I don't know. I really don't know. And like I said, I'm like excited and nervous at the same time. But ultimately, I have to look at it the same way I look at it as an MCU movie. If it sucks, okay, I move on. I haven't watched Thor: Love and Thunder a second time.
Yeah, no doubt.
You know,
Yeah.
I have not that I think it's as bad as Thor: Love and Thunder, but I haven't watched Ant-Man Quantumania a second time.
Yeah.
Because I didn't enjoy them. And if other people did, more power to you. But I didn't. So I'm not going to put myself through that painful experience again. Because
why would you?
I didn't.
Why would you?
Like,
once
so
was enough, man.
I'm not going to do that. So hopefully hopefully whatever story they tell, I enjoy. But you know what? If I don't enjoy it, like, you know, there are a lot of X-Men books that I have not enjoyed in the last several years. That doesn't take away decades of Uncanny X-Men, right? So if I don't enjoy this, I still have all these Ultimate Omnis to read, right? I still have what they gave us in that phase 1 of the MCU. You know, hopefully I love it, but if I don't, I still have all my other everything else on my pull list that I love. You know,
and here's the thing, bro. Like, because looking at this, and just again, some of the characters that are featured, we see. Again, we get a chance to basically see Black Bolt. We see Miles. We see Reed Richards. We see Panther, Namor, Iron Man. And in the back, you definitely see the version of Xavier that we can't stand and can't trust. Stephen Strange, and then we see the variant of the ultimate version of Reed Richards, the Maker,
Giant Man,
and and you the kid, you're right. That Iron Man armor is fucking incredible.
That extremist armor is the
that
best.
Extremist armor is a dope ass. Exactly. We see Thor. We see the version like a really like
Hulk.
Yeah, but like a really terrifying version. Definitely.
I
just see Cap.
I can't emphasize enough how awesome the Ultimate Thor was.
Oh yeah, he was dope.
Like the Ultimate Thor was so. The Ultimate Thor is the reason why Chris Hemsworth was like perfect for that role, especially the way he looked in Infinity War. I mean, and
ultimate version, bro. Like
and Miles is such a success story coming out of. So there are so many good things that came out of the short-lived Ultimate Universe. That's what excites me. And do I think they can pull it off? I think so. Now here's the thing though, if it ends up being an ongoing thing, they don't obviously, I want them to like stick the landing. I want this to be a good miniseries, the Ultimate Invasion, that like brings everything back, right? But if it's not that great, but we still get back characters that then other creative teams, other writers can take and run with, and we get great stories out of that, then at least we get stuff in the future, even if this isn't like the best event ever, right? Because that's the thing, is sometimes an event is not that great, but then like a new creative team picks up and runs with it, and all of a sudden the book is on fire and they're doing a great job. Again, I'm the biggest Daredevil fan on the planet, right? I fucking hated Mark Waid's run on Daredevil. To this day, I loathe his run on Daredevil. But the very next thing we got was Charles Soule's run on Daredevil, which was brilliant, and I fucking loved it. So I got something that I didn't love, but then another creative team took over, and their run I absolutely loved. So who knows? Maybe maybe it happens with this. It's also happened in the reverse too. I've enjoyed Brian Michael Bendis. Created Miles Morales, right? Loved what he did with that character. Ahmed Sadine, they're like people took over and did a good job. And right now, I cannot stand the writing for the main Miles Morales book,
which rumors is it's going to change.
I hope to God, and I hope look. If people like Cody Ziegler's writing, then more power to you. And I'm not trying to hate on the guy. Like, I don't want him to not be employed and stuff. Like, You do you, dude. I just hate the way he writes dialogue.
He's doing too much.
Specifically,
the thing is, it's like
the way he writes Miles and Misty Knight is painful for me to read.
Yeah, he's doing too much.
And I do not want him anywhere near Miles and Ultimate Invasion. I hope to God he has nothing to do with it, because I've actually the kind of event, it's like a 7-issue event that they're like 4 or 5 issues into right now. Carnage Reigns. It's not the best, but I'm actually like it's decent. It's entertaining that we're reading right now, but it goes across multiple books, including like 2 issues in the Miles Morales main book, and that's the only one that it's painful for me to read. Like the other books, I've been like, okay, this one good. I enjoyed this one. That one works, and I've enjoyed Miles Morales when he's in those other books.
Yeah.
But when it's the actual Miles book, I'm like, oh my God, this dialogue is the worst ever. It's like, it's like, dude, stop trying to write like you think, teenagers of color, today.
Oh, wow.
Talk.
Yeah.
Because that's painful. I'm like,
he's pretty
whiter
much
than a fried egg. Okay?
Like it's kind of you're taking a character
not authentic at all,
and you're making it a non-authentic way to introduce the character. Look, not everybody really delves into a level of ebonics that makes them, because the thing is you're in a sense you're taking a character like Miles who's intelligent, extremely intelligent, smart as hell, and you're taking this character and you're kind of, I'm not going to say dumbing him down. You're trying to make the character relatable, but at the same time, you're making it like
completely
really cringeworthy.
Changing. Like he doesn't
the
sound like
way
the genius kid that he is.
no.
And that's not to say you can't be a genius kid and from the streets of Brooklyn. Like you can be both of those things.
You can be both, bro.
But he's not writing him that way. He's writing him so that you can only be one or the other. And that's where it really hurts, because Miles was written so well before that.
Right.
That he's going in the other, like in the complete other direction, and it's painful. And it's like, think about the way Miles, the way Miles sounds in in the video game. All right, the way Miles sounds in Across the Spider-Verse, right?
Yeah.
Miles is like a super, super bright kid. Okay, in like genius in everything, but in Across the Spider-Verse. But the dialogue, the way he says, "Nah, I'm going to do my own thing," like the way he said, like it felt natural, right?
Natural.
Like all of the dialogue feels natural in that. You can't have even a talented actor, a voice actor, read the dialogue that is being written for Miles right now and have it sound natural, because it doesn't sound authentic to the character. It sounds forced. But the really egregious thing is he's writing Misty Knight the exact same way. Misty Knight is an adult. He's supposed to be like a 15, 16-year-old kid. Misty Knight has been around. She has been with the Heroes for Hire. She has been a daughter of the dragon, or a sister of the dragon. Like, she should be like, you can still have her be authentic culturally, but she's also the adult. She shouldn't sound the same way that the 15-year-old kid sounds, right? It's just been super, super painful for me, because I love Miles as a character. I also love Misty Knight as a character. I loved the way the actress on Netflix portrayed her, right? I thought she was great. So to see that's my thing, is like, I've been very nervous about what happens with Miles with regard to this Ultimate Invasion. Does the writing team from the main book have any input whatsoever, either on how Miles is used in this, or will there be tie-ins? Will there be, Ultimate Invasion tie-ins from the main books, and are those going to be painful to
I don't
read?
think they're going to bring the writer. It's not going to be the same writers. I think it's going to be a certain interpretation. I think, even like I said, I mean, Hickman's run on this, there's going to be influences, but I don't think they're going to use that writer, bro. I really, really, really
they
don't.
can't.
Because especially with these particular tie-ins and these books, sometimes they do take a totally different route. They're not using the same writers for the main run. They might use them a certain way, but from what I'm hearing, because the feedback about this isn't just coming from you and I, or it's coming back from a lot of people, like even people who are really conscious of notice. I would never use the W word because that's whack. But even people basically who are conscious, of dialogue and how, people are articulated, they're like, yo, you're going too much. You're really, really doing too much, because that's even taken away from the story. It's taken so much away from the story and making that character as believable as the character is. Now it's sort of like you're
making him say things that you think he should be saying and the way he should sound, rather than saying things that drive the story forward in a way that tells a good story.
And I think like literally putting him in this type of situation, hopefully with the writing is going to be towards, because the thing is, Miles is he's going to play a major role in this, because it is his universe, and what he knows about the universe is going to be key, as you can see here. And I can't wait. But hopefully when they see how it's done, they're like, yeah, maybe we need to, what I mean?
Because you have arguably one of, if not the hottest character in comics right now, or in comics, but like in pop culture, Miles Morales. In pop culture, Miles Morales is a juggernaut right now.
He's hot right now.
You've got the video games, to the point where the first game was Peter Parker, right? Then the second one that came out was actually the Miles Morales,
I take that.
Shorter game, right, from when the PS5 launched. But then this Spider-Man 2, both characters are you can play as both characters. They're both featured on the box art, and they flat out said they are both equal parts the main characters in this new game coming up in October, right? You've got that.
I want that black suit. I cannot wait.
Absolutely. And you've got arguably the two best, or at least two of the maybe three best Spider-Man movies being the Miles Morales animated movies, right? You've got those. The only place where they're fucking up with Miles Morales is in the comics.
In the comics.
Yeah.
Exactly.
How you can't let that slide. He should be if the way he is in the games and in the movies, and people clamoring for him to be in live action, the fact that you're dropping the ball where it all begins, the source material for comics, and that you don't have a top tier writing team on that book right now drives me crazy. Because the people that are on, like, they should have a Jason Aaron or a Jed McKay or somebody like that on Miles Morales right now. Exactly. Jed McKay has been crushing it on Moon Knight. He's taken over Avengers right now, which is going to be, I'm sure he's going to do a great job on that. He was crushing Doctor Strange. All right. So yeah, he's probably a little too busy to take on Miles Morales as well. But like somebody like him, Jason Aaron just finished his run on the Punisher. He did a phenomenal job with Thor back, years before that. Give somebody like him Miles Morales. Give a seasoned team of great storytellers arguably your single most premier character that you have going right now.
Right.
Yeah.
And they don't. And that's what drives me nuts. So I'm hoping that coming out of Ultimate Invasion, they have such big plans for Miles, how he's involved in that and what happens with him moving forward, that we get a better creative team on. Yeah. I actually think the art has been pretty good. But the writing, like I said, it's been painful. Carnage Reigns, I've been like, okay, these issues, like, across Carnage and even the Red Goblin one, which I'm not reading that title, but I read the tie-in, and the Carnage Reigns Alpha, those were solid. They were decent. The Miles books were the ones that I was like, oh man, like, come on, this sucks.
Yeah, and again, like, I mean, Ultimates is definitely the opportunity to kind of like, and here's the thing, they're not it's not one of those situations where there has to be a complete, retooling or rewrite of the actual character. No, with Miles, it's a way the art of storytelling with this hopefully influences even greater writing in its own IP. I'm thinking and I'm hoping that it should. Again, if Miles is taking center stage here, and he's not just, I mean, he's taking a lot on here to the point where when you look at this cover, bro, like it's crazy. But it's crazy when I think about it, but it makes sense that Peter has nothing to do with this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because Peter in his world is gone, and there's basically they're taking it right to Miles, and it makes sense that they're only using a core group of individuals. Because you might as well, if you look at it, bro, it's crazy because we're looking at the Illuminati in Miles. Literally.
Right there.
That's what we're looking
at. You got Reed, you got Tony, you got Black Bolt,
Iron Man,
Namor, Doctor Strange.
So you're looking at the Illuminati and Miles, basically because that he's going to take center stage, and they need him because he's the one that knows most about the Ultimate Universe.
What if we get what if we get in the MCU the Ultimate Universe Illuminati? Do something
man, on screen, like live action.
Yeah, well, based on the whole how Secret Wars plays out. Because here's the thing, we know that they're gonna take certain elements from the Secret Wars in the comics and make that a part of this movie, right? But you also got to remember is look, one of my, if not my favorite MCU movie is Captain America Winter Soldier. But that movie is not a one-for-one adaptation of Ed Brubaker's The Winter Soldier, right? It's not. It's very different. It takes the core of it, but then makes it the MCU's own version of that. So it's entirely possible that they do the same thing with Secret Invasion too, but with Secret Wars, but give it its own twist. And, maybe that's how we get more characters coming into the MCU, how we get mutants, any number of things. Who knows? What I will say, I don't think it's going to happen, but I think this would be a really good move for them leading into that stuff. If Hot Toys, because we've talked about comic concept ones. I love the Iron Man ones and stuff. And I know a lot of people hated on them. And then when they came out, it's those are sleeper hits, man. What if with the revival of the Ultimate Universe in the comics and leading into Secret Wars, what if they did an Ultimate Universe / MCU comic concept line? Because remember, Ultimate Thor was the basis for Chris Hemsworth. What if you do new figures that are the Ultimate Universe comic concepts that
we already got that with Nick Fury,
MCU.
Of course.
You already got Nick Fury,
Because they could brand it as that, Ultimate Universe concept.
Yeah.
The inspiration for the MCU, something like that, and then give us a whole line.
Right, but you would have Nick Fury in his Ultimate uniform. That what is that? The Super Soldier uniform he wore with Steve.
Yep,
that would be a dope figure, bro. That Extremis armor Iron Man.
You could even do the World War II cap where he had the green helmet on over and the leather jacket over you could. There's so much that you could do. I mean, if you just look at this shot alone. There are so many cool iterations of these characters because whether you like the storylines that they told or not, the art, I loved the art in the Ultimate Universe. There were so many cool, for case in point, the way that Bagley drew Spider-Man in the Ultimate Universe was so cool. I loved that, right? Yeah. Ultimate Hawkeye was
it was a beast, bro.
People and now I like Hawkeye in the 616, right? I can't wait. The Matt Fraction that they used for the inspiration for the Hawkeye TV show. That omnibus comes out later this year. I can't wait for it. I'm gonna buy the shit out of that thing.
Yeah.
But Ultimate Ultimate Elektra was really cool. Like I said, Ultimate Daredevil was kind of a dick, but like in a way that was like fun to read. It was cool.
We should get a Namor figure, man. Ultimate Namor. Oh,
yeah, these were interesting takes on the characters. And granted, I think the most controversial was probably the X-Men because they did some wacky stuff in that a lot of people didn't like.
Yeah,
but they took a swing,
especially
man. They tried something creative
with
Xavier, bro.
Well, not even just basically
Logan
with Xavier.
was definitely off the walls there, and
fucking Blob was off the racks, bro. He was a cannibal, bro.
Yeah.
Like, damn.
They went, but you know what? It was all the Ultimate Universe. They picked the name Ultimate for a reason. It was also supposed to be like there was supposed to be some hardcore shit, and it was supposed to be like, look, this is like a diesel version of Cap, of like this. This is not like a just eat your vegetables, kids, kind of Cap. Like it was right, and so, but like they took a swing, and I like that. And the thing is, if you still have the original, then having those completely different versions of them can be fun. To kind of see the differences and to see how stuff plays out. And what would it be like if Cap was more of a hard ass in this one? Or what would it be like if, there's a lot that you can do and that you can have fun with. Look at it basically like an Elseworlds tale in DC or a What If in Marvel right now. Like I'm all for that. If they can create something, the Marvel zombies like that.
Oh man,
there's so much that can be really, really cool. So I'm really, really excited about this relaunch of, or at least Ultimate Invasion. Where
it's so much potential, bro. It's so much potential. But the thing is, I mean, because there's only snippets. Like there's a trailer that you can watch online. There is a trailer that you can basically watch. It's an introductory trailer to the Ultimate Invasions.
If you're not familiar with like comic trailers, it's like the comic book art. So it's not like an animated movie like a DC
it's just
Warner
the
Brothers
art
movie
is
or something.
just shifting.
It's just like the animated, like the actual comic book art. They
been
animated
around for a while with the
across
stuff.
and there's like voiceover and sound effects and stuff like that.
Hey,
but like
Jedi
it gets
Pimp.
you excited.
Could you imagine if there was an Ultimate butt naked, bro? Like an Ultimate Universe butt naked, bro?
I'm right here.
I'll buy it.
Nah, Ultimate Universe butt naked.
You don't get more Ultimate than this,
bro. The Ultimate version of butt. Like if we had to think
that
of
would
the
be too much Ultimate.
What would the Ultimate butt naked version be, bro? Like that. Would it be a mild version of this one? But would it be a intensified version?
What's that damn candy he always eats?
You can't. That's like saying infinity
uniform.
plus one. You're already at infinity.
That's it.
You can't. You can't. But there's. I mean, I'm curious. I'm curious how many people in the chat have actually read the Ultimate Universe comics, whether it's the original
really
Ultimate
good,
Spider-Man, whether
they were
it's
really
Miles,
good, bro. Which I didn't
Fantastic
understand
Four,
why
because they're so good
at the time they destroyed
it,
or they ended it the way. But again, because I guess they said at that time it was a bit too convoluted and it was too much that was going on. But I'm like, but it was dope. It was really, really, really dope. There was some dope runs. There was some iffy things about it, but it did actually have some really good storytelling. Even like this. Of the Captain America Corps, like there was a couple of different things that came out of it. But again, like there were some decent runs. But now that you're going back into it, I just wonder. Again, we don't know, but it's going to be interesting to see.
You know what the cool thing? The cool thing about the Ultimate Universe, though, death mattered. Right? Because Ultimate Peter Parker died and he fucking stayed dead.
He stayed dead.
He didn't come back 6 months later and now there's two Spider-Men, right?
Hulk was a cannibal too. Yes, he is.
He stayed dead, right? So in the Ultimate Universe, you can have all these versions of these characters, but they could also, because they were never gonna in the 616 kill Spider-Man. They're never gonna not have a Spider-Man ongoing series. ASM, adjectiveless Spider-Man, spectacular. They're always going to have those ongoing, right? But you could kill Peter in the Ultimate Universe. If you wanted to, you could kill Cap or Iron Man or Thor or whoever. Be like, that death is real. Like it created a universe where stakes felt a little bit higher, a little bit more real, because you're never like, who thought years ago when they did the death of Wolverine that he was gonna fucking stay dead? No. Immediately they bring in other versions of Wolverine, like Old Man Logan and stuff like that, to have like in the interim. So you're still getting Logan, you're still getting Wolverine in your books, right? It's not just the exact yellow and blue suited version, that was gone for a couple of years, but we knew they were going to be doing it. And then they did a whole, Return of Wolverine and stuff. We always knew he was going to be coming back, right? But in the Ultimate Universe, you can kill somebody and be like, yeah, they're fucking gone. Like consequences, shit matters. Like
look. Ant-Man / Giant Man was abusive with Jen. Like, who saw that coming, bro? Like that story was mad complex, man. Like, he was a total asshole. Like everybody, Ant-Man's always been a pretty decent guy, but
you could also take a character, but you could take a character and make them a villain. And keep them that, like, how like Namor has gone like back and forth between like superhero, like not really super villain, but like kind of still antagonist or like anti-hero. You could flip the script and be like, he's like the fucking Doctor Doom of the Ultimate. He could be like, boom, there you go.
True.
Yeah.
And like, so you could do that in the Ultimate Universe.
Yeah.
That's true.
You could make, in the Ultimate Universe, you can make butt naked an actual Sour Patch Kid.
There you go.
Talks
with superpowers.
Yeah.
I'd read that book.
Anyway.
Only if Alex Ross draws me, though.
Oh, there you go. So you'd be all added up.
Funny shit.
I want to see how.
Hey, yo, Jason, could you imagine the caption, like the words, like? Could you imagine the
Super Sour Patch butt naked version?
Like this word. I can only imagine the dialogue, bro. That'd be some funny shit. Like Charlie the Unicorn, clench butt cheeks.
I'm already sour enough. You don't need fucking asparagus.
You need to act super, huh? Oh my god.
Yo, definitely, man. But yes, this run is coming, people. So be on the lookout. It's going to be out soon. It's going to be dope. It comes at the end, I think, the end of this month, going into July, I believe. So
yeah, it starts in July, I think.
Yeah, it starts in July. I think there's a one shot coming to prepare people for this at the end of the month. But yeah, just be on the lookout. It's going to definitely be dope. Ultimate Captain Marvel had a sick look, definitely did.
Marvel.
So yeah, again, be on the lookout for this, man. It's going to be a dope run. I just hope it's done well. It's exciting times. I mean, again, Hickman, hopefully he comes in and he doesn't make it complicated to fucking don't overdo it.
Don't do like the, like every couple of pages, there's like a full white page of just black
bro,
text.
I don't want that
like,
shit.
Don't do that. Like, give us the art, let the art and the story flow.
Exactly. Just let the flow,
bro.
Because it's like he tries to explain himself.
Doing it here and there is fine, but too much is like
every damn book. And
they've carried that on. They still do
nah.
that in the X books.
This
now
is why
I'm just like, stop.
I write this way. Like, no.
Nah, bro.
Most of the time, those pages don't actually add anything to the story. Like, you think, oh, this is going to be important. Then you read it and be like, that was just a bunch of nonsense. Like, they just wrote just to write more shit.
Yeah.
And like, I started like skipping those. And then like, I'd read the book and then I would go back and I'd reread, and then for the first time, I'd read those pages with just the text on them, just to see if like I missed anything, and I'd be like, "No, I didn't need those. Like they didn't add anything to the story. I wasn't clueless about something after reading the book that I only understood when I went back and read those pages that I skipped. So they're just most of the time they're fucking pointless. So
definitely,
I really wish they would stop doing that. But now is the time, people, if you haven't read the Ultimate Universe, obviously there's a fair amount of it, so it's not, I'm not saying like go read it all, but it's really good. Like Ultimate Spider-Man and
Captain
the way they
America,
introduced the
Thor.
different, the different villains. The death of Peter Parker in the Ultimate Universe is a great story, and it's an emotional story. It's amazing. And Brian Michael Bendis did that, and then went straight into co-creating Miles, and then Miles' run coming up as the brand new Spider-Man is again amazing. The Ultimates, which is, for people who don't know, the Ultimates are the Avengers of the Ultimate Universe. That's just what they were called. That team, the art is phenomenal in this Omni. I highly recommend it. But the writing, it's good. Mark Miller and Bendis and Bagley and Pacelli, like they did such a good job with those characters, and Miles and Spider-Man and the Ultimates. The Fantastic Four and the X-Men are the ones that are like the kind of controversial ones. Some people love them, some people hate them. Make up your own mind, but like go read those books, because a lot of people like just have the knowledge of the 616 and have skipped everything from the Ultimates and like the Ultimate Universe. But again, I think that's going to play big because it played big into the 2015 Secret Wars. I think it's going to play big into the MCU moving forward too, with the Secret Wars movie. And they're good reads, man. So get the trade paperbacks, get the Omnis, digital downloads, however whatever floats your boat, whatever blows your skirt up. But like, check out the Ultimate Universe, man.
So many
ways
I think to get this one in, man.
Yeah, and I think this, I'm really hopeful for this revival.
Yeah, definitely. I'm hopeful for it. So again, it's gonna be a dope run coming out next week. Stay tuned for it. Thank you guys for basically being here with us tonight. It's been such a great time. But thank you. What you got coming up, bro?
At some point in the near future, the So Toys Rogue will be here.
Mine is slated to be here Thursday. That's what they're saying.
Yeah. So mine already shipped like a couple of 2 days ago, but I went with like the 7 to 12 business days shipping because it was a lot cheaper and I wasn't in like a super rush.
Yeah.
So hopefully it comes in soon. We'll see. Other than that, I'm just, man, I've been reading so much comic wise. Daredevil, man, like I know I'm biased, but like seriously, if you people aren't reading like that Daredevil run right now, Jason knows. I told him, and he started reading and was blown away. Told him how good the Punisher run was. Blown away by that. I'm telling you, people, check it out. It is good. I've also been catching up on Something Is Killing the Children. Phenomenal, like horror series from James Tynion. It is so good.
I only got the first book, man.
That and his other one, Department of Truth, man, mind fucks, but like good books. So definitely check those out. And the Daredevil and Echo miniseries, written by Taboo and B. Earl from the Deadly Neighborhood Spider-Man miniseries. That's been they had their first issue and the second one's coming out soon. That was really good. So definitely check those out. And only other thing I'll mention is my buddy Chris from Journo's Comics and Pop Culture is, I think he's like 10 subs away from 13,000. So if you want really good content on the comic book market and industry, everything from tips on what bags and boards to buy, because that does make a difference. They're not all built the same.
Oh, yeah.
How to take care of your collection, little like things that you can buy that actually help with the humidity in your collection room, different boxes and stuff like that, speccing on stuff, values, books from investment standpoints, just general comic collecting, like industry knowledge. Check out his channel. I'm going to type the name of his channel in the chat. But awesome dude. He's been on here before. He actually was on our Black Panther 2 issue or episode right after that came out. So check his channel out. It's definitely worth it. give him a sub and get him up over that 13K hump. So that's it.
Definitely, man. Thanks a lot for that. If you haven't already, Instagram for Collector Without Fear. It's always a pleasure, bro. Jedi Pimp, bro. What you got coming up, man? What you got going on, bro?
I got so much stuff in the last week, man. Today I got in my InArt Joker. I got in Batman Begins. I'm changing that head sculpt right away. I got it.
Well, you know that there's a head sculpt that's actually available now. You can get it through, I think, 1/6 kit from Jackson Jew.
That's where I got mine from.
Oh, you got it? Did you get the Jackson Jew version?
Yeah, and my boy Monkey Mike painted it for me. That thing looks awesome. I gotta open.
So wait a minute, the one from Jackson Jew doesn't come painted?
No.
The one that he's selling on there right now?
No, it has to. Well, I've never seen him sell unpainted head sculpt.
Because this one that's actually on there right now is painted.
Let me show you this joint.
I've never seen him sell unpainted before.
Yeah. The one he's doing right now,
I feel like it has to be.
Yeah, it's going to be painted. So it's definitely going to be dope. You can get that to kind of because I actually ordered it to throw on top of the Batman Begins figure that I have. So I was like, yeah, I might as well just go ahead and get it. I'm gonna get a custom cape. I ordered another custom cape from Unreal.
He did a custom. It's like a full custom cowl, right? It's not just like
it's a full custom cowl, and it's gonna have like the face swap out and stuff like that. Yeah. So, which you just got it in? Mm-hmm. It's the cowl.
Mm-hmm.
Let me see.
I think so.
Yeah, you got that from Jackson Jew.
Yep.
Yeah, that looks painted. Yeah, that's the face is painted there.
Way better than there's a little thing. But way better than that freaking Hot Toys head sculpt, man. That thing looks hard.
It's always funny to me when like a custom or like third party puts in like certificate of authenticity.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck is that? It's like, look, don't get me wrong. I have a lot of So Toys figures. I love what they've put out lately.
Yeah.
They put like legal, like the company and like copyright stuff on the back. I'm like, you're selling a third party fucking figure. You don't own the copyright, but you're actually putting legalese on the back of your fucking box.
Yeah.
What are you like? Who are you gonna sue? Like,
bro,
so whenever I see a certificate of authenticity with something that is unlicensed, I'm just like,
it's hilarious, dude.
Authentically bootleg? Like, what is that? Like, it's a great custom, cowl and sculpt. Like, I'm just saying, like, you don't need to include a fucking certificate. Like, why did you waste the money to print that?
I got that freaking
what if this universe where Alex Ross makes a mural display or butt naked self?
Somebody
that
buy
would be, yeah,
it'll sell.
Yeah,
well,
it'll sell.
Unfortunately, it won't be one at NYCC because while I had planned originally to go, unfortunately, I will not be attending NYCC this year. It just didn't make sense.
Yes, there's a lot going on, bro.
I honestly wanted to, but when I looked at the lineup that they've got for creators, and it's not. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm saying the ones that I really cared about that were on there. They're also at a bunch of other shows around on the East Coast that I can hit for way less money than the cost of the 4-day pass and the hotel and then food and general shenanigans in New York and what that costs. And it was going to be a shit ton of money before you even actually got to the con and spent anything on stuff you wanted versus I can, for the same amount or less, I can hit up like 10 different shows, all around like the Northeast. Between now and like October, including Fan Expo Boston here, and so, and it's also with my wife and kids being back at school at that time, and like schedule and everything just gets crazy. But, it just when I looked at it, I started thinking about like, okay, it's like I had the money to swing it, but then I was like, well, but if I don't spend it all on that one thing, most of it going toward just the tickets and the travel and hotel, what else could I get with all of that money by doing day trips to shows in the Northeast? And I was like, shit, I can hit so many more shows. I can get so many more books and art prints and all that stuff by not wasting that money this year. It just wasn't.
I got, like I said, man, I got to focus on Toy and her brand. You know what I mean? And that's just where it's at. Like focusing on her and making sure that she get this stuff out, because she's trying to get some stuff out by the fall. And I want to kind of focus in on helping her get that stuff going.
And you're trying to launch your Only Feats website.
That's funny.
That's
that's funny. Oh, the hell no, that's funny. Man. But anyway, thank you guys for being here tonight. It's been a great show. Everybody, again, tune in each and every week. Again, if you haven't already subscribed to the 1/6 Scale Man, YouTube channel, make sure you do. I'm on my way to 4,000 subscribers, trying to get there. So definitely always need your support along the way. So make sure you do that. Again, we'll be back next week with another topic. We do have a topic for next week. We didn't talk about it this week, but we will talk about it next week, Brendan. You know what it is. So we'll definitely bring that up. So again, thank you guys for being here. Again, we will see you guys next week. Same time, same channel, whatever the time may be.
I miss the booty bots.
Yeah, the booty bots. They are not in here no more. That's which I am so glad.
It's been a minute, man. It's weird, but I kind of miss them.
Yeah, that's funny. Anyway, thank you guys for being here. It's been a blast. We'll see y'all later. We love y'all. Peace out. Peace up. Let's go.